tell you that our speakers today, we have Bill Donnelly, who is an assistant state fire warden with the New Jersey Forest Fire Service. We also have available John Cecil, who is DEP's assistant commissioner for state parks, forests, and historic sites. Again, their names will be provided to you in the chat. And with that, I will turn it over to Bill to give you an overview today of what's going on with the red flag warning and the campfire restrictions throughout the state. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon. Like Karen said, my name is Bill Donnelly. I am an assistant division warden or assistant state fire warden with the New Jersey Forest Fire Service. Basically run the operations of the Forest Fire Service in the field for the state. I guess we're all gathered here today due to the red flag warning that was issued late last night by the National Weather Service. What the Forest Fire Service does in a case like that is we basically double our staffing. On a normal day, we'll have our folks out, roughly 30 folks will be out working in the field. When we see weather conditions like this, we'll basically double up. So right now, there are approximately 60 of our fire engines on the road in a patrol mode, which means they're out and about, just waiting to be dispatched in the event of a fire. Our fire towers are staffed, so we have folks that are out keeping an eye on the forest. Unfortunately, with today's haze and things like that, that smoke that's coming down from Canada is making things a little bit difficult for our folks to see. We also have 2 of our helicopters on standby. One is to assist with observation and command. The other one's available to drop water if we need it. And that's basically what happens when a red flag warning comes out. Depending on how much worse it gets, we could up our staffing. We have different levels of patrol. Today is a level 1 patrol. We go up as much as level 3, depending on conditions, the number of fires that we're having, and the activity. We also have a ban on all open burning today in New Jersey. That means no fires for recreational purposes, campfires, bonfires, things like that. Our farmers that typically get to burn for agricultural purposes have been asked to not burn today either. We don't want to confuse our fire observers. They see some smoke and stuff like that. Immediately, we're dispatching resources where typically, in the course of a day, the fire observers will see different people burning and things like that. What that's set to do is allow folks to immediately respond. They don't have to put a lot of effort into figuring out what's going on with the smoke. If our folks see any smoke, we're immediately sending resources. So as it stands now, our men and women out in the field will be on the road till approximately 8 p.m. tonight. That's when the red flag is scheduled to end. Doesn't necessarily mean that we won't have fires overnight. It's not untypical to have fires throughout the evenings, especially at the end of the day. Not much more than that. Be happy to answer any questions you guys have pertaining to the red flag or what it is we do when a red flag arises.
Thank you, Bill. Before we get to questions, everybody, John, was there anything you would like to add first?
Thank you, Karen. I guess I would just emphasize what I think you all are familiar with at this point, which is, we continue to be in a challenged circumstance with wildfires. Our wildfire season typically ends mid-May. Here we are at the beginning of June. This is not very different from what we saw last year. We had a major wildfire around Father's Day last year that burned 11,000 acres in Wharton State Forest, and took us the better part of the month, that latter half of June, to get into a good condition and a managed place. So, you've seen reporting. You all have probably done some reporting over the last week on the extended wildfire season that we're experiencing. 10 days on average, the fire season is expanding in the northern part of the state, 4 days on average in the south. We didn't have much in the way of snow or wet precipitation through the winter months. So we've just got a lot of dry, fine fuels on the ground that are subject to, burning when exposed to flame. one of the things that we often stress is most wildfires in New Jersey are started by people, whether accidentally or intentionally. So the public can play a huge role here in being mindful and cautious about, disposing of ash, preparing their homes for wildfires, cleaning out their gutters, all of those, prevention techniques. So, just want to emphasize the role of the changing climatic conditions in our fire season, the impact that's having, and importantly, the role that people can play in helping us be safe and prevent wildfires. So thank you for your reporting. Really appreciate your help getting the word out to the public.
Thank you, John. Just a reminder, please use the raise your hand function. And again, we do have a tight time limit on today's availability. So with the number of our media partners on the call, it would be great if everybody could just ask one question at this point, so those who do have questions get the opportunity to do so. And if time permits, we can go back for follow-ups. So with that, please raise your hand and we'll call on you and answer or give you an opportunity to ask your question in the order in which it comes in. Dan, it looks like you have your hand up. Dan Alexander, 1015.
Yes. So typically when you spot a fire, you see from one of your towers, for example, you see the smoke. How long typically has that fire been burning, and how long is it till you actually respond to that fire? Like how long does it have like kind of on its own before you respond?
Well, it depends on how close it is to the fire tower, for one. It also depends on what kind of fuel load it has. If it's just skunking around and maybe some leaf litter and things like that, it may go a little longer before it gets detected. However, once it is detected, it's less than a minute before we'll have resources en route to that fire. Now, depending on how far it is from where the resources are, determines how long it takes before we have folks on it. But all that can happen in about a minute once our fire towers see the smoke.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Bill. Geisha, go ahead, please.
Yes, what the people needs to do with a red flag warning?
Well, I think people need to be extra careful. A lot of folks burn fireplaces, they burn things like that at nighttime. It's still getting chilly on occasion. And then people go outside and they'll dispose of their ashes, perhaps in a forested area, without making sure that they're out. So that's one thing they need to do to be extra careful. Another thing they need to do to be extra careful is their smoking debris and things like that there, when they're smoking their cigarettes or lighting things, dropping their matches. All in all, just pay attention. If you see something, make sure you call someone. Because right now there should be no smoke. There shouldn't be smoke coming out of your neighbor's backyard. There shouldn't be any smoke in the forest, out in any farm fields or anything. So, early detection is going to be the key to keeping these fires from getting big. But if they could just use a little safety when it comes to disposing of their ashes or things like that, that certainly can go a long way.
Thank you, Geisha. Other questions? Aliana Gomez.
Hi, yes, and just to clarify with the red flag warning, I know that there's a ban on all recreational burning. I'm sure that includes any campfires, campgrounds, anything like that, especially in the Jersey area where it's particularly hot and dry, correct?
That is correct.
And then just to add, I know we're speaking specifically about the red flag warning, but is there anything that you guys can discuss in terms of the air quality with the hazy skies, the smoke in the sky, how that might be contributing as well?
Well, the air quality itself certainly contributes to our folks having a hard time seeing fires when they start out small. Again, the visibility up in the fire tower isn't what you would have on a clear day. So until a fire gets established, and what I mean by established is probably burning a little bit bigger, producing a little more smoke, things like that. That's where we run into a problem with the quality of the air, just not having good visibility and things.
Thank you, Aliana. Other questions? Dan, do you have a follow-up?
So what this comes just, it's been a very busy, I guess I'm making a comparison in my head to like when we have like a busy winter season when, you know, the DOT gets extra, you know, they find the money to plow the roads and keep the roads clear and find the resources and find the materials needed for, um, you know, snow clearance and whatnot, winter weather clearance. This has been a very busy wildfire season for you folks. Is it sort of the same situation where, you know, you don't worry about what this is going to cost? You know, the money's kind of there to take care of these fires?
We've been assured to, do what we need to do. That's, in my eyes, that's almost irrelevant on my level. That's something that Mr. Cecil can probably answer you, but I'm sure that money's not really a concern right now when it comes to the safety and welfare of our residents here in New Jersey, along with their properties and as well as all the natural resources that we're responsible for protecting.
Thanks, Bill. Dan, we're certainly mindful of the budgetary realities that we live within here within the State Parks, Forests, and Historic Sites program with the New Jersey Forest Fire Service. To date, we have had probably slightly above average number of wildfires as we move through the first half of the year. Pretty significant amount of acreage burned. We have been able to move staff around, bring in our, kind of part-time fire line workforce to support the suppression of those wildfires. We do have the ability to call upon neighboring states and others that we collaborate within the region. We haven't needed to do that. So we have some options available to us should resources become really stressed. But to date, we've been able to manage the workload and the wildfires using the existing resources that we have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, John. Keisha, did you have another question?
Yes, I got another question. Geisha Torres from Channel 65 Univision. Which is the principal recommendation for people to avoid wildfire?
I'm not sure I understood what you said. Could you say that again?
The recommendation for people. What do you need to say to the people to avoid the wildfires?
What would be our top line recommendation, Bill? Like no backyard, no campfires in your backyard. No, a lot of folks want to have like a nice little fire in your backyard at the end of the day. Maybe put some marshmallows over it. Those kinds of things. We have had some really nice nights, as Bill said, cooler evenings. But the point is, we can't have any fires started by the public in their yards, at their campsites. Period. It's just too risky right now with the dry conditions. So that would be my top line recommendation. Bill, anything to add to that?
No, that's it. Just they need to be mindful right now. Things are not conducive to having campfires and things like that. So that's why we've put these bans on. We ask that everybody just be patient. We are in New Jersey, so sooner or later weather's going to change. I'm sure before you know it, we'll be able to start having campfires and things like that again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Eliana, did you have a follow-up?
Nope, I think we're all set. Thank you so much.
Any other questions from the group? Dan, did you have another follow-up, or Geisha, did you have another follow-up?
No, I think I'm okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm fine.
Last call for questions. Tyler Miller. Tyler, you're muted. Okay.
I'm sorry, I lost my connection. I'm not used to.
You're doing good there for a minute.
I know. I'm sorry, you can't hear me. Where is the mute button? Where is?
I can hear you.
You're fine now, Tyler.
I'm sorry. I'm not used to Microsoft Teams. I write a blog on wildland firefighting. I've been doing it just so you all know who I am. And I always like to focus as I can on New Jersey. And I'd like to thank all the media partners, because I wouldn't be able to do this without you. One question I have, just as a homeowner, do you get the word out to municipality, to like local fire companies and municipalities on this? You know, some people don't know this. I belong to a group, you know, one of these, and I just think people don't know this. You know how people are. So that's that's one question. And the second question is for Bill and John. Anything I could say to that you would want me to say to my national audience on my blog about New Jersey?
Well, New Jersey's, you know, we're doing the best we can. We've had a busy year, but everybody seems to be hanging in there. So I think as far as New Jersey goes, they're in really good hands here with the Forest Fire Service. As far as letting the people know about the red flag warnings and things like that, that information is pretty readily available. I know all the newscasts in the morning there when they do their news typically make announcements. As far as the local fire departments and municipalities, I know the dispatch centers send out a text to all their members. I'm also a member of a fire department, and by yesterday afternoon, I was getting something from our county dispatch center saying, hey, red flags are going to be in effect tomorrow. Just, you know, heads up. So I think the media does a pretty good job of getting the information out to the folks, at least the folks that, you know, pay attention to things.
Thank you.
I would echo that. I think our local fire departments are pretty in tune with the conditions that we're concerned about. You know, I've had the chance to see just this season the cooperation that we've had with local fire departments, the structure of protection that they bring into place, local offices of emergency management, state police, Department of Transportation. It's truly a team effort, a heck of a lot of collaboration across the board, from state agencies to county to local municipalities, all jumping in. I would just reemphasize the points we've already made, you know, for the public to be aware, alert, to be very mindful of what they're doing, to support each other. You know, you see your neighbor starting a little fire in the backyard, you know, give them a little friendly, hey, this is a dangerous time. We all need to be mindful about it. You know, and a big thank you to all those cooperating agencies. It really does take a lot of effort to manage some of these fires that get very dangerous and larger in size. So it is a true team effort. Our folks lead the way in many respects on these wildfires, but takes a lot of other agencies as well.
Thank you. And I would also remind everyone that the New Jersey Forest Fire Service posts regular updates on major wildfires on its social media platforms. On Facebook, you can search New Jersey Forest Fire Service. On Twitter, it's at NJDEP Forest Fire. I put those platforms in the chat, and I can also send those to whomever needs them. We are closing in on our end time, so I'll make this last call for questions or follow-ups. Okay. Well, with that, I thank everybody for joining us today, and thank you. Bill, did you
I think Miss Geisha she raised her hand.
I
Yeah,
apologize, Geisha. Thank you, Bill. Geisha, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just need to know the main cause of the wildfire. If you got the main cause.
Human beings typically being careless. You know, in one way or another, they're typically human caused. Now, whether it's directly or indirectly as a result of something that folks are doing, but typically a lot of it goes back to folks just not being careful, not mindful of what's going on around them.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Dan? You're
I'm good.
muted.
I'm
Okay.
good. Thank you.
Still got your hand up, Dan.
Thank
Oh.
you.
Sorry,
hand up.
didn't mean to. I apologize.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. As I mentioned, I'm Karen Shinsky, DEP Press Officer. I am recording the session, so if you would like a copy, just reach out to me. I'll get it to you when it's available. And if you need any additional information, email me, call me, and I'll do my best to help you in any way I can. Thank you again to our speakers, Bill Donnelly and Assistant Commissioner John Cecil. And please have a good rest of the afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
Take
Thank
care.
you all.
Have a good day.